we are talking to Jets insider editor-in-chief, second beat writer, Chris Nimbley. What's going on, Chris?
Not much. How's it going, guys?
How's it going? Well, it's going interesting, and I'm sure all the fans are going to love this interview because they can't stand the Jets. And but I am a Jet fan. Everybody that knows me here, I am a Jet fan. I'm a realist. I'm a realist Jet fan. So I don't hold back on what I think the Jets are or what they look like. So before we get into the New York Jets, tell us a little bit about you. How'd you get this job? And I guess you're a full-time worker as a beat writer now.
Yeah, well, I've actually been covering this team for over a decade now. I started Rex's second year, so the second year of the back-to-back AFC championship runs was my first year there. I got the job interning out of college, and my boss just hired me full-time. I now actually own the website now. I've fully taken it over, but I've been covering the Jets for over a decade. Like I said, I had that first year of the AFC championship run, like, hey, this is kind of cool. And it's been all downhill since then. It's
downhill is understatement.
You're a Jets fan, so you know this. That it's been tricky the last couple of years covering this team because it's not just that they've been bad for a decade plus, but they've been bad in pretty much the exact same way. This year, they're throwing a little wrinkle because they've always been – the one thing they've always been really good at is defending the run. Mm-hmm. And now they're worse than the league in the run. So it's a new twist, but it's still – it gets repetitive talking about the Jets over these last few years.
It's a new twist, but a bad twist, okay?
Yes.
It's twisting the wrong way. And so let's get into the twist of this Jet team. Couple of weeks ago, a guy steps onto a field, and we're not talking about Zach Wilson. He gets hurt, so they put this guy in, Mike White. Before the season started, everybody was like, who's the backup quarterback? They should have brought a veteran in to help this kid. They bring in Mike White. They're like, who the hell is White? Get him off the team. This guy shouldn't have even made the roster. He throws 400 and some odd yards in his first game, threw 37 for 45, threw 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, and he's the next thing since Joe Montana, or whoever you want to call him. I don't even know. You name the quarterback. That's who they were comparing him to. So now all of a sudden, this week, Cubs, he has a bad game. And who's starting the game this week? Joe Flacco, old man Joe. So please explain to me what is going on with this team and why all of a sudden they decided, you know what, Mike wasn't the second thing. He might not even be on the team next week. We're going to put Flacco in. So please explain to me what the hell is going on here.
All right, so I'll start here at training camp. They're not going with any type of Joe Flacco, any type of veteran backup, because they wanted to just give Zach Wilson all the reps. If they wanted him to start the season and prepared, and if you're going to go that route, it is smart to give him all the first team reps. If Joe Flacco is there, somebody else is there, they're going to have to get some of those reps. With Mike White, and they had James Morgan at the time, nobody was clamoring for those guys to get first team reps. None of us in the media was clamoring. The fans weren't clamoring. We were all like, okay, they're going Zach Wilson. They're doing that. Now, obviously, Zach Wilson gets hurt, and they're in a little bit of a pinch because they haven't even they've been playing roster tricks.
A little bit of a pinch? Is that what we call it now? A little pinch. Okay.
Right. Well, that was the danger in the plan.
Loving it.
That was the problem with their plan. It's one thing because I agree with the concept of wanting to give Wilson as many reps as possible, of course. But especially in today's NFL, like, not many quarterbacks make it through a season without getting banged up. Mm-hmm. And you don't necessarily need a quarterback that can win as much a backup that's going to win you a bunch of games, because that's really hard to find in the NFL. But you need to find a quarterback that can at least run the offense, and you can evaluate the rest of the players. That has to be a baseline. And this is also Mike White has been with the team for 2 years. And I have seen absolutely nothing that will give me any indication that he can even run an offense efficiently. Like that game against the Bengals, I think everyone's forgetting that they're still the Bengals. I mean, they went and yes, the defense is playing better. I'm not believing them. All those plays, yeah, it was a statistical highlight. He went, since Vinny Testaverde, no one's thrown for that many yards. He did it by throwing the ball 3 yards in the air, little dump offs, running. And then once, the Bills said, hey, we're going to take that away and force you to throw the ball downfield. And he threw 4 interceptions, and it could have been 8 interceptions. It really could have been 8 interceptions. So as soon as a team takes away those dump-offs and those underneath, Mike White has nothing for you.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Hold on. Do you remember what Troy Aikman said with Joe Buck before the game? How he made Mike White seem like he was the second coming to Jesus Christ? I mean, seriously. I listened to, oh my God, he's played so well. If he plays into the game, there's no telling you what this game could be, how big the scoreboard would be. He could put up a 30 tonight. I listened to Troy Aikman. I thought he was talking about Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady or somebody like that. He's talking about Mike White. I was like, what the hell?
Come on, Mike White used to play for the Cowboys. Of course he has to
What's
like him.
going on here?
Actually obligated. He was once on the Cowboys. I mean, you just described the reason why I watch most NFL games on mute. I really don't need to be hearing stuff that's out there because I'm not one that likes to sit here and just be like, watch the tape. I know fans have busy lives. It's hard to sit down and watch the tape. But if you coming out of nowhere, no one's like, who's Mike White? Oh my God, he's throwing for 400 yards. I get getting caught up in the hype and being like, wait, this kid might be really good. But when you actually watch and it's just dump offs to Michael Carter all day, it gets a lot less impressive. And again, I've watched him 2 years in training camp. I've seen nothing to give me any indication.
What are these fans seeing? I mean, I'm just I'm a little lost. I mean, anybody that watches,
normally a little lost.
I'm normally a little lost, but I'm even more lost when I was listening to the fans and some of the stuff that was going on out here in New York. Oh my God, there were people putting Mike White tattoos on their body.
No.
You want me to show you some of the pictures?
I don't want to. No, I don't.
I've seen a guy put it on his forearm. I saw somebody put it on his leg. Jet symbol with the number, what was it, 5, I think he wears?
Yeah.
5 white on the bottom.
Sanchez fever all over.
I mean, Sanchez took the Jets to 2 AFC title games. Yeah. At least he did something.
To get another man on another man's tattoo.
I mean,
now in Sanchez's defense, it was just Rex Ryan who got the tattoo.
That was so funny. I couldn't stop. I have to start laughing. So, what are your? I'm going to let them ask the questions after this. But what are your thoughts so far with Zach Wilson? I mean, he will be back probably. I wouldn't say next week. I think it's. If the Jets were smart, I wouldn't bring him back until week 14, week 15. Let him play 3 games, 2 games. Don't put him in harm's way because this season's a loss. I thought it was a loss after they lost Carl Lawson, okay? Once Carl Lawson was out and I was reading all the stories, he looks like a beast on the field. He's going to be unstoppable in this defense. As soon as they lost him, and then we heard the Vinny Curry situation, he's out. He has this sickness that nobody would have thought he played healthy his whole career, and all of a sudden he's a blood sickness that he can't even play football again. I mean, figure that one out. Shout out to Vinny Curry and his family, by the way. But I mean, the Jets have had no luck, and some people call it Jet syndrome because once you become a Jet, you have the syndrome, and you just fall apart. And this 50-year-old, I want to see this team win. Who is Zach Wilson? Do you believe, honestly, that this is the guy of the future? Finally, did the Jets get it right?
All right, so he wasn't at the top of my list as with this draft and quarterbacks, but watching in training camp, and it was up and down training camp. He had his struggles at times, but he looked good at times. Normal for a rookie quarterback to do. But he did a couple things that I really liked. I really liked the way he moved around in the pocket. He had a good feel in camp, even though they don't, they're not really hitting. He still had a good feel, moved around. I liked the way he threw with placement. Like he would, throw low and outside if he needed to. There was lots of little things that I was really impressed with as a rookie. I'm like, you seem to be a little ahead of the curve on this. Now, so as training camp was going on, I was becoming more sold on him. The season, obviously, it hasn't been great. And the only thing that's really been kind of alarming to me is his inability on these short throws.
That's what I say all the time, yeah.
Yeah, because rookie getting confused by a Bill Belichick defense. Okay, I think we can all understand that. I think we can all understand watching a rookie force something downfield and it not going right. That's understandable. You can understand throwing a pass to Corey Davis and bouncing off his hands and going for an interception. No problem.
Jets luck.
Yeah, little screens and dump offs. The Mike White passes that I was just talking about, when you can't complete those, that's alarming. Now it's just the yips. Is something he's got to get over?
Yes,
he obviously has to get over it, because you can't continue that, especially in an offense like this that's going to rely on that. I don't think that's going to continue to be a problem. So I do still think there's a chance here.
Yeah.
This has obviously been a really bad first year. I think his arm talent is incredible.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and that's he is gonna have to figure out a balance of being, trying to go for the big play and taking what's there, but not. You still need to be aggressive. You don't want to completely coach that out of him, so he has to find a balance there.
Best arm talent in this draft. I really did believe it when I saw it, and I got to see him throw at the combine, and just watching what he could do inside and out and make his throws. Like we all know what the other quarterbacks have, but there's just something about his, like the velocity of his throws coming out of his hands, kind of like Josh Allen-esque. The velocity, it's like I heard what's his name again? Sanders was on the field at practice, and somebody told me the story that he threw the ball and it whooshed. One of the guests whooshed right past Sanders' head. He looked at him like he was like Superman. He never realized how hard a ball can come outside the back of the field. So
at least he didn't pull off a Christian Hackenberg and hit a reporter.
So he was that's true too. Christian Hackenberg. Another winner for the Jets, by the way.
Yeah.
But I think that this kid has something special. I hope this is the right coaching staff that's going to develop that special ability that he might have.
I was just going to say, obviously, there was a lot of questions about LaFleur at the beginning. You've seen the Mike White game, the Josh Johnson game, that this offense can work when it's executed properly. Obviously, also at the beginning of the season, he was down on the sidelines, which they kind of made an audible there because they had Greg Knapp as the passing game coordinator, who unfortunately died in a tragic bike accident right before training camp. So they ended up keeping LaFleur on the sidelines because that's what Zach Wilson was more comfortable with. Now they've hired John Beck to come in as the quarterback coach, so he can be there and LaFleur can be upstairs. And I think that makes a difference because, to me, in my opinion, offense, any coordinator, you have to call the game from upstairs. You have to be able to see the whole field and watch plays develop as they, go.